Hey everybody, welcome back. Hope everybody's doing well. First off, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. So we left off, 8.8 was in the car. I was going to show you guys how to do the springs today, how to get those seated in. I got my parts laid out on the table as usual. Show you what I'm going to install today. Shouldn't take too long. Now I already tightened up all the control arm bolts, upper and lower. Like I said, always keep your control arms kind of vertical when you tighten those down. I'm going to jack the rear end up, take the rear end off the stands, let it down as far as I can. And then I'll do one spring at a time and show you the easiest and safest and the best way to do that. So thanks for watching the last video. Really appreciate that. And if you guys got any questions or comments, you can hit me up foxjunk73@gmail.com, or you can hit me up below. Either way is just fine. So let me show you what I got going on the table today and what we're doing. All right, so quick layout. We got some rust dissolve going on, cleaning up those washers for the crotch lock brackets. I got new Dan Carpenter lower isolators for the springs. Oh, nice and nice. I repainted a nice set of original 93 Cobra springs. Like I said, I got new isolator set for the bottoms, and the uppers were in perfect shape. New calipers. I'm going to show you how to cut a little bit of material off this boss right here, so the parking brake line, or so the brake line will fit the way it's supposed to. I've got calipers resurfaced. I'm going to get them taped up and painted, and we got the dust shields and all the hardware right here ready to go and ready to install, and all my brake hardware right there. So if you all want to hang out and watch me throw this together and get these wheels and tires put back on this car today and get this thing back on the ground so she's on all fours, we can roll it around like a Matchbox car. Cool. That'd be awesome. So let me set the camera up, get the rear end where it's supposed to be, and start showing you how to do this one spring at a time, one side at a time, and I'll show you how to get this done. So let's check it out. All right, so I got you under the car a little bit. Now on this upper insulator, I normally put about 4 spots of black RTV before I put it up in the body of the car. That keeps it from falling down. Helps a lot. So now what I normally do is I put the top part of the spring in first, then the bottom. Right now I have the rear end all the way down, if you can see that. I've got it all the way down, a jack under the other side, and I'll show you why here in a minute. Makes it a lot easier to put the spring in. So sometimes these stock lowering springs, you don't have a problem doing it this way, but putting stock springs back in it, they're quite long and they want to fight you when they go back in. You can't push the rear end down on one side really far enough to get the spring to just kind of go in real easy. So I'll try to do this side just to kind of show you what I'm talking about. Now it might go in pretty easy because I've got the sway bar disconnected. Let's hope I put enough RTV on there for that to stay. I've already got the new lower one put in place. So what I like to do is put the upper part in first, like so, and then push down on the rear end. But you see how hard it is to get that spring in there still? So, nope, RTV didn't hold it in place. So what I normally like to do, I'll take my other jack over there, I'll put it under where the shock bolt's in, jack that side of the rear end up, and it'll tilt the rear like this and give me more room over here to put the spring in. So I'm gonna jack that other side and just put it in real quick. Just watch as that rear end on the passenger side goes down. See how that's pushing that whole rear end housing down on the passenger side as I jack the driver's side up? Now if I had the sway bar in, it wouldn't be doing that. Now, that should give me enough room or clearance to get that put in there without having to fight it. And a little bit of RTV on my control arm. Alright, now she's going to push that over top of that, just like that. Well, wait a second, there we go, just like that. Right. Now, that this spring's in there, I'll let that down and I'll jack up this side. Now, keep in mind, now you've got spring pressure on the body of the car. be careful not to lift the car off the jack stands while you're doing this. My car has a motor in it, but no interior, so the car's pretty light. So let's move that jack over here, and then we'll do the other side. All right, now I've got the jack stand, or the jack underneath this control arm over here. I've got the other side tipped down that way. Now, I did lift the car off my stands, but I'd put another jack on the rocker over there. When you do stuff like this under car, I don't ever talk about safety and all this other stuff, but always make sure you got spare tires, extra jack stands, anywhere under a car when you're under it. I normally have 2 jacks, 3 or 4 jack stands. You see I got them everywhere. Last thing you want is a car falling on you, because that's not going to be a good day. So, I'm going to go ahead, get this other side put in real quick. All right, now I've got that as far up as it'll go without lifting the car, but you can see I can still push the rear end down without that sway bar in it. Now that's the importance of taking the sway bar out. It gives you a lot of flexibility with the control arms so the spring don't fight you. Now, I've got the lower one in already. Now, there's a little thing on the back here, this tab right here. This goes facing out towards the rear end housing once it's sitting in the car. We'll try to do it this way. So that's straight. Yeah. Like I said, they will fight you if they're stopped. Pretty tight, right? And try to jack that other side up a little bit more, see if I can get more tension on it. So where extra weight in the car helps. I'm gonna got my jack over here. I'm gonna keep it jacked up so I don't mess anything up. Sit down and just push up from a little bit from the bottom. Trying to fight me. Let me give me a pry bar real quick. Alright, got my little pry bar tire iron. So the first thing is I want to center it. So I'm going to pry on the bottom of the spring and the control arm a little bit. And then, now that I got it where I want it, I'm going to push down on the rear end. And then it should just pop right in. It should be in, there we go. Should be an optimal word, right? Should? All right. Got some sweats on my rear end. But that's stock springs. It's kind of the easiest way to do it. Now we got the springs in. I'm gonna let that side down, get the shocks cleaned up. Well, they're brand new. Get them on there and get this thing closer being on the ground. All right, so I got ready to put the shocks in. I forgot I bought brand new Monroes for this car front and rear because this car's been sitting for a very long time and I'm pretty sure the shocks and struts are shot. But I forgot to paint these rear shocks black. These are Monroe blue. I don't really care for that underneath the car. Really not a big deal, but I'm trying to make it look as OEM as I can. So I'll show you my quick tip of the day, how to support rear shocks while you're painting them. All right, quick tip of the day. 4x4 drill bit, drill some holes so you can put the shocks in there and paint them black. Miss Baker's over there. Baker! She's been on right today. So yeah, they're ready to go. So let me get these painted black, get them put in the car, and then next step, we're going to put the dust shields on the rear end. Then we're going to trim the calipers, get the lines on, rotors, and have this baby ready to sit on the floor. Yeah. All right, so we got shocks painted. I'll show you those real quick, but we're gonna let those dry up before we try to put them in. I'm gonna go ahead and take some material off these rear calipers for the factory brake lines because they don't fit correctly where the banjo bolt goes in. So I'll show you the shocks real quick. They turned out really nice. Again, you're probably thinking, oh, why didn't you paint them black? If they're aftermarket shocks, like Bilsteins or Coney's or something like that, I wouldn't paint them. These are just Blue Monroe. They're a factory replacement, and I'd prefer to paint them back kind of the factory color. So there they are, nice and shiny black. There's the boxes they were in, so yeah. All right, over here, there's the calipers. Now, I got the original brake lines, the new ones are still on the car. What was that? Oh, we got that over here. Woo. Had a bird in here a minute ago, kind of flying around, so I'm not sure if he's still in here or not, so that kind of freaked me out a little bit. So let's show these brake lines real quick where we got to clearance them. All right, so right in here where these bolt up, there's not enough room. This boss right here, need to take some material off of that, so this brake hose will bolt down in there, and I'll show you what I'm talking about real quick. All right, so move the caliper over here. So if you see right in here, this right here, there's too much material right here, so you got to grind some of that off. So like over here, I put an earplug in that hole so I don't get any of this right in here and get that messed up. So that should turn out pretty nice. So if you're still watching, we're going to get this ground down real quick, get the factory lines where they'll bolt in, and that way we get the dust shields on the car, get the rotors painted, and get this all assembled. So yeah, getting kind of slow today. I guess that's old age. So if you're still watching the video, I hope any of my tips help you guys out. And with these new calipers, the modifications you got to make them fit. So it sucks you got to do that, but sometimes that's just aftermarket parts and that's how they fit. So let me get these ground clearance real quick. Ground down clearance, same thing. And I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so before I grind it down, so basically I took a Sharpie. I just drew a straight line. I'm going to grind that over to here on both calipers, and that should do it. So let me get these ground down, and I'll show you how they fit. All right, I go both of those clearance / ground down. What do you want to call it? I'll show you what it looks like. Now, make sure that your aftermarket brake hoses fit on your stock. These aftermarket calipers as well. I checked those as well off camera. So they do fit just fine. They appear to be about exactly the same size as these replacement hoses are compared to the originals. All right, so I've got that nice and clearanced right in here. So now that fits the way it's supposed to on both calipers. Sorry about that. They should have just a little bit of play in them. That's about it. So I'm gonna go ahead, see if these shocks are dry, see if I can get them put in. And I'm not gonna show you guys that if you can't put shocks on a car. I don't know what to say about that. So yeah, stay with me and let's get this thing knocked out today. All right, so I'll show you guys what I got done so far. As you can see, I got a different shirt on, same old funky hat. I had some pool maintenance to get done yesterday, but before I did that, I did get the dust shields installed. I had a nice set of low mileage quad shock brackets off of quad shocks themselves. I got cleaned up and repainted. I did get those done and installed. I'll show you what that looks like real quick. And we're gonna got the rotors taped up. I got the rotor retaining clips new in the box. I'll show you what those look like. If you guys want to buy some of those, are fairly inexpensive, but there's a bunch of them in a box. So real quick, let's check out dust shields, quad shocks, springs, and all that stuff. And oh, I got the snubber installed too. Show you what those look like real quick. All right, so just real quick rundown on what I finished yesterday, kind of off camera. Dust shields, got those installed, kind of real easy, just those 3 little black bolts there. Springs installed, looking really good. I did get the snubber installed, quad shock done, quad shock bracket and bolts. Now those bolts for that, those are the original plating on those were undercoated on this car, so I just soaked them in lacquer thinner and they cleaned up like brand new. So did the brackets, those were also undercoated. But yeah, so that's so far what I got done. Let's walk over to the other stuff. To show these rotors real quick, I got them taped up, ready to paint. I'm going to paint those, and I'm going to go in the house and eat some lunch, and I come back out and get those installed and get the calipers put on, and jump my way to the sway bar, get that repainted, get that installed, and try to get this thing back on the ground today. Sorry for the bad lighting there. So let's check out these rotors real quick. All right, so got the hats all cleaned up, got them all taped up. Just use some 1/4 inch masking on there first. I normally leave a little bit of material showing because the brake pad doesn't touch flange to flange or start to finish, whatever you want to call it. So I usually leave a little metal showing all the way around towards the hat and the outer ring. I got all this cleaned up with a wire wheel as well. Both of them are ready to go. Just some old rattle can restoration over there. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get these painted. I'll show you what those look like when I get them done, and then after that I'm gonna go in the house and eat a salad for lunch today, eat healthy, and try to get this thing on the ground today, hopefully. Fingers crossed. All right, so I got these rotors painted and taped. They look freaking awesome for what they look like. I have another rotor off another Cobra rear end. Used to look the same as this one, so we'll compare these and let me know what y'all think. All right, so not bad. Some rattle can resto, VHT, high temp engine paint in a can. So that's what they look like now, like brand new money. And that's what they look like when I started. That's off another 93 Cobra rear end I got. So yeah, they look just like that. Now the clips I'm talking about, there's the part number. If anybody wants to buy some of those slip over the axle studs on the axle housing when you install it. When you put the rotor on, it keeps the rotor from moving while you're putting the caliper and the brake pad stuff on there. So, all right, I'm gonna go eat some lunch. Come back, put these rotors on, and let these dry up a little bit. And I'll come back, put these rotors on, and get the calipers, brake pads, and get this thing on the ground. Yeah. All right, back from lunch. Did a little bit of work off camera. Quite a bit of work actually. I got everything installed: rotors, calipers, brake pads. Went and painted sway bar, got it installed. I'll kind of show you how I did the sway bar. I can't show you because it's already in there, but I'll give you just a quick rundown on how to do that if you're all by yourself and you trying to figure out how to get it in there. So let's, without further ado, let's check out this awesome looking set of brakes. All right, so all of that is done. Looking spiffy, both sides. Now, let me show you the other side real quick. Got tires cleaned up, ready to go back on. Junk everywhere. Here's the other side. Now, this bracket right here to the right is for the park and brake cable on 93 Cobra. Now, when I do the sway bar, I got it all repainted. Oops, sorry. Got it all nice and redone. Now, once it's painted, this piece of cardboard right here, I'll set it on a piece of cardboard or something you can slide it under so you don't drag it on the ground and then scratch the bottom of it up. And then the front sway bar bolt, this one up here, I'll try to do the front ones first. On one side, I'll normally take a screwdriver and put it in the hole just as a guide bolt, and then go on to the other side and put the front bolt in, and then come back, put this bolt in, and then lift it up and do the back bolts. That's pretty much it for doing the sway bar. Damn, y'all. Looking like new. Might have to do the front like this too. Man, looks good. So got a little paint marks on the shocks. Got it on the rear end housing under there. I got the paint mark back over here on the sway bar, the blue paint mark, like factory. If you can see it over there. Yeah. Shocks are done. Calipers are paint marked. All that looking like new money. Sorry about that. Big fat finger in the way. So, now that all that's done, go ahead and put the back tires on it, get this thing out jack stands, and let's see what it looks like on the ground. Kind of like a project car, I guess. Yeah. So I got to cover one thing before I put these wheels on. Those little clips that hold the rotors on, the axles. Let me show you how to do that real quick. All right, so these little metal clips I was talking about, 99.9% of people do not install those. Basically, just get it started, push it on a couple threads by hand, and then I take a deep well impact socket and then just tap it on with a hammer. Just do one side at a time. It's pretty easy. Anybody can handle that. So, all right, I'll get these tires on. Alrighty, so got this thing sitting on the ground. I'm cheating a little bit. This car had aftermarket springs on it when I got it, so it was pretty much slammed. So I put jack stands under the front so it's sitting level pretty much. Well, the front's a little bit higher. I got that on purpose because the next step I'm going to take the drop springs out of the front, put the stock ones back in it. So yeah, looks super nice sitting on the ground. I know old G Fox guys are like, what's the big deal? If you're watching this build series, you'll see what this car looked like. It's a long way to get one looking like this, especially with I had a lot of stuff going on and the car wreck and all that shenanigans. So to get it to this step, to finally get it sitting on all four and looking like an actual almost complete car. Yeah, the motor and trans is still in it. I gotta put the interior back in it and the doors back on it, but not a lot to go from here. Next step is I'm gonna put the front springs on it. Then I'm gonna get the hatch prepped and ready for paint the bottom side of the hatch. Then I'm gonna paint the jambs on the car, put the hatch on the car, the doors, I might do the dash and the dash harness before I put the doors back on it. Be easier to get in and out of, so I might do that first. So yeah, without flapping, I know y'all want to see what it looks like. Let's check her out real quick. Hell yeah, there she is. Oops, sorry about that. Now, did clean up the wheels. I kind of cleaned up my mess a little bit. You know me, I can't work in cleanliness. I've always got a somewhat scattered mess. So yeah, looking really nice. Thing fit good, everything went together well. Over on this side. She is sitting like a truck. It's got stock 93 Cobra springs. There's no fuel tank, no interior, no doors, no glass. So it's going to sit like a 4x4 till I get all that in it. So everything looking really, really, really nice, I think. So yeah, it's Project Frankenstang. So if you're still watching this build series, I'm going to get after this and try to get this thing painted in the next couple months. Get it back together, maybe get it out to a couple of small events this year. Thanks for watching the build series. Thanks for watching my videos. If you got any questions or comments, you can hit me up at foxjunk73@gmail.com. If you have any questions about how I done any of this, or where I bought parts, or what kind of paint I'm using, or just whatever, feel free to hit me up. I'll answer your questions. And yeah, again, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, come on, man, subscribe. Come on, y'all, subscribe. What the heck? I really appreciate that if you would. Yeah, and remember, it's not just junk. It's Fox Junk. Have a good day.